If you are having a lot of negative self-talk, so for example, you're just thinking about all the things you haven't done, what you haven't done enough of, what you've done wrong, or that you just aren't doing enough to get towards a new way of life, a new experience of life, or towards your goals. The thing is, if that's very repetitive for you, you need to remember three things. The first is that having negative thoughts becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because as we have these thoughts, if they feel bad to you internally, if your lived experience of this negative thinking doesn't feel good, it means that your neurochemical nervous system state is one that is not producing the right kinds of neurochemicals and states that will help you approach new behaviors to change and move more towards your desired future. The second thing to think about is that if it's kind of repetitive, it means that those networks are efficient. When we have very repetitive kind of cycles of thoughts and patterns of thoughts, the fact is that if they're repetitive, those networks have gotten a lot of activity, a lot of use, and that actually increases their efficiency, which makes it more likely that the brain will go towards those thoughts. So the only way to change that is we have to have replacement activity, replacement thoughts. So in order to do that, we have to have something that is a different valence, a different kind of flavor to it than the negative. And that means it has to have more of a positive kind of feeling for you as you think that. The third thing, which is my number one suggestion for how to do all this, which is to improve the thought patterns, to create replacement activity and replacement thoughts, is to have some sort of inventory that you take every day of micro decisions and micro efforts that you put in that day towards something new. It does not mean that the situation necessarily changes. It doesn't mean that the results are already there. But as you take inventory of little tiny micro decisions that you made, whether it's getting up 10 minutes early, whether it's drinking a glass of water at the beginning of the day, whether it's sending that email or just sketching something out, those micro decisions and micro efforts, if you are taking inventory of them, and the way I do that is I have a journal and I write at the end of each day all the micro decisions that I liked that I made that day. As you do that, you're giving new input into your system that actually changes the algorithm. So it's basically creating a new set of inputs that tells your brain the probability of you getting towards your goal is increasing. And this can have a positive influence on your nervous system and your neurochemical state that becomes a reinforcing feedback loop for you to keep moving more and more towards your goals. Again, with knowing that there can be dips, there can be setbacks and up and down, but as long as you're putting those micro efforts in and noticing that you're doing it and feeling some sense of good or victory, whether how incremental it is or how tiny it is, if you're doing that, you're feeding your system positive neurochemicals, positive kind of inputs that are going to help you continue to move closer and closer towards your goals. So give that a try and let me know how it goes in the comments.